Bizperation is the podcast for leaders, dreamers, and entrepreneurs that want to work on purpose and be inspired in life and business. I'm Christy Jackson, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, and I'm passionate about helping you succeed. And if no one else has told you today, you are needed. So I'm bringing you podcast episodes with real lessons and strategy that you can use today.
Hey, have you heard of Local Search? Well, this is your fastest growing nationwide directory for Black-owned businesses. Make sure you share with your friends and list your own business. You can do so by visiting our website at www.localsearch.com. And make sure you download our app. It's available in the Apple App Store as well as Google Play Store. Thank you so much for the support. And remember, buy local.
Good morning, Bizperation listeners and viewers. I want to thank you for tuning in this week, and I'm welcoming Valerie J. Coleman, who is the mastermind, the author, the founder of Pen of the Writer. And I'm so excited to talk with you this week, Valerie. We met on a podcast. Didn't we meet on LaShonda Hoffman's Writers Cafe podcast recently?
And, about a week ago.
Yeah, about a week ago. And so she had several authors on, and I just really enjoyed hearing your experience really about how you're supporting authors and your experience as an author yourself. So I thought it would be great for us to continue the conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, Christy, I'm Valerie J. Lewis Coleman, and my company is Pen of the Writer. And what I've been doing since officially 2006 is serving professional speakers and experts to magnify and monetize their message by publishing quality books. I say officially because about 7 or 8 years prior to that, I started working with the first author, who was my friend, Vanessa Miller Pierce, just helping her with the business side of book publishing. She now writes for 3 different traditional publishers. She has an annual conference, earns her living as a writer. So that's why I say officially versus unofficially. But as of today, I've published 134 authors. I'm expecting to add about 7 to 10 new authors to the roster by the end of the year. And I serve them by hosting live events, workshops, virtual events. I'm about to do a virtual event in a couple weeks since I can't have my retreat this year.
I want to talk about that too. That's is that your Power Book Fest?
Well, I do several things. The Power Book Fest, which is Pen of the Writer Power Book Fest, was initially going to be May the 8th and 9th, but with the virus, we rescheduled it for July 31st and August 1st. That is a full day of authors, up to 50 to 60 authors selling their books. I'll have workshops connected to that. I'm going to have an area for kids called the Power Kids area. It's going to be hosted by My Mobile Mommies, my sponsor for that. And I've done it in collaboration with another fellow small business owner, also named Valerie McKinney Walker. She does the Indulge event. So I've been doing citywide book events for probably since 2004. She's been doing her citywide small business event since for 10 years. And so we're collaborating together. Her vendors are artists, food vendors. She has independent insurance reps, Mary Kay reps, all the small business, a lot of different small business entities. I'm coming on board with the authors. So we're combining our efforts to share the space, share the cost, expand our marketing reach, and then connect with over 1,000 people in Dayton, Ohio. That's the plan as of right now. Now, hopefully they don't make us change the date again. But that's the Power Book Fest.
They say that's the way to make God laugh, is to make plans, right? So these days it's all about being agile, pivotal, and flexible so that we can pivot when we need to, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to go back to your journey as an author. You are providing all of these amazing services to new authors, but I want to go all the way back to your how did you become an author? How did you enter that space?
Well, I was kind of forced into it. Let me just put it that way, because I'm an engineer by degree, and I was working as an automotive engineer, living a good life, making good money, benefits, travel, whatever I wanted to do, I did it. And then when my particular plant closed in 2007, I had several options. And one of them was to, stay in corporate America, look for another engineering job. but I just didn't feel compelled to do that. What I wanted to do was embark in the book business. Now that started, like I said, I started working with Vanessa back in the late 90s. So by that time I was ready to, okay, let me just do my own thing. And I was at the point where I needed to write my own book. So it was all kind of like happening at the same time. So my first book launched 2006, and that was Blended Families, an Anthology. It was a book I wrote about my life as a stepmom and all the chaos, all the confusion, all the foolishness I had to go through.
Yeah, the real life.
Being a non-biological mother to children, who was specifically one child who just was not feeling me.
Yeah.
And so that was my first book. It's been an Amazon #1 bestseller in the step family category. It's literally all over the world, helping families navigate the dynamics of step families or blended families. So that was my first book. It was either write the book or go to jail.
Wow. I love that.
I figured I might as well profit off of this pain, so I decided to write the book.
Yes. So it seems like your entry really has been, an authentic entry from an authentic space. You began supporting other writers by helping a friend and, just kind of, sharing your story. So for those that are listening or watching and thinking about, is this the time for me? I have a story that, I want to share. Why do you think that now is a great time to become an author?
Well, now specifically, given we have this virus pandemic going on and a lot of people are isolating themselves and social separation, I think it's a good time for those people, at least the writing part of it, who always had excuses or reasons why I don't have time. I have to go to work. I have to do this. I got that. You have so many things to do. But now that we're in this self-quarantine, so to speak, a lot of people have more idle time.
Yeah.
Now, even if you may have little ones at home who may occupy your time for school or whatever, you should have or may have more time that you can commit, even if it's just an extra half an hour or an hour. So now is the time. Also, because we don't know what tomorrow promises.
Yeah.
So we keep saying, I'll wait until tomorrow. That's another thing that makes God laugh. You talk about planning tomorrow. I'll just wait and do it tomorrow. You're like, you don't know what I got planned for you for tomorrow? There'll be a whole nother something tomorrow.
Yeah.
So do it while you have time. Do it while you're inspired. And I really encourage your listeners and viewers, Christy, to focus on the fact that it's really not even about you. And I think that's where a lot of new writers and aspiring authors get stuck. I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do, but it's not even about you. If you're writing a book to help other people, to encourage, empower, fix a problem, solve an issue that they have, your book, even though it's your story, your message, your expertise, is still really about them and how you can help them, serve them, make them live better, give them opportunities and options that maybe they weren't aware of. So Don't focus on it being about you. Focus on how I can help somebody else's life get better.
Yeah. So, that sounds like a common mistake that new authors make, like having the wrong focus. So what do you see, especially working with some of the new authors that you work with? What are some more of the common mistakes that you've observed?
So one of the most common mistakes on the writing perspective, because, it's writing, publishing, and marketing. On the writing perspective, I would say one of the most common mistakes I have when I'm working with clients is they're not clear on who they're writing to. They're not very clear on the message that they want to convey. And they don't have a plan for their next. So most of my clients are professionals who are looking to, land speaking engagements, start hosting live events or online courses, or maybe they are looking to do, I have one client who does stage productions, so there's always a next. The book, even though for most people first getting started, the book seems like, oh my God, this is so much work, this is hard to do. What tends to happen is once that book is out, people see you as an expert, not just in the field of which you wrote, but being an author positions you as an expert. Automatic credibility. So they're going to ask you, well, how did you publish the book? How can I do this? I want to do what you did. Show me how. And so it begins to put you in a position of mentoring, teaching, coaching, leveraging your expertise to really help other people. And another common mistake that I see is people who are trying to write and edit at the same time.
Yeah.
So writing is a right brain function, editing is a left brain function. And when you try to do both at the same time, you're jumping between hemispheres in the brain. It affects creativity, it affects your focus.
Yeah. And, you know, I like how you sort of broke it down that writing really is just one piece of it. You know, you have to market the book. And, you know, I want you to kind of speak to those creatives that are listening, you know, that say, you know, I really have a challenge with sort of the strategic piece of this. You know, I just have a story to tell. You know, I just want to put my art on the paper. How important is it for them to sort of level up in that strategy side?
Well, it's uber important. And what I do with my clients through my company, Pen of the Writer, what I do with them is when they reach out to me, whether they're in the phase of writing, publishing, or marketing, I send them an assessment, a questionnaire, if you will, that gives me a lot of information about them, their motivation, their purpose, their passion, and then their intent for the book. So I can use that so that as we're in the writing phase or the publishing phase or the marketing phase, I use that to position them throughout the process. So as you're writing, one of the things I do with my clients is I take whatever their ultimate goal is, their objective, their expertise, and I roll it into the manuscript. So as people are reading the book, most of my clients are nonfiction writers. So as people are reading, they are getting subtle hints, nuggets, breadcrumbs, if you will, that lead them to the ultimate call to action. In other words, I might drop a seed and it'll let the reader know without saying, hey, I get paid to speak. It says in so many words, I get paid to speak.
Yeah.
So if at the end of the book, the call to action at the end of the book says, you know, you want me to come and speak at your school, or you want me to talk to your marriage ministry, you want me to do blah, blah, blah. So then they already know, okay, there's a fee attached to this because back here when she taught as such and such, you know, so it's a way to like subtly, subliminally communicate the message of whatever your next is. So that's something that I do with my clients because it's important to think about the end, even at the beginning.
Absolutely. And I think too, you have to know your strengths and know those areas where you need support. You don't have to do it all, you know, and it can become overwhelming when, you know, you are trying to write your book and, you know, figure out all of the next steps and the plans with that. If that's an area that you need support, you need to get a coach, a consultant. Someone is going to help you strategize through that. And so we'll make sure that we have your information available for those that are listening and watching that may say, hey, I need that additional support. You don't have to do it all.
And don't try to do it all, because what you will find is, one, you probably make a lot of mistakes because there's a bazillion options out there. So you'll end up maybe overspending for stuff you didn't need or not get the results that you had hoped that you would get. I've worked with people who went through various publishing companies and purchased their marketing packages, spent thousands on the marketing package, and then didn't sell any books.
Yeah.
But like I tell people all the time, if they are marketing to their generic database of people, which may not have anything to do with the message in your book, even though they may write a press release, if it doesn't go to the right people, it doesn't matter. Or if they write a generic press release, just changing your book title and your name and, you know, a couple other changes, it doesn't resonate with SEO optimization on Google, and PR companies and newspapers, magazines may not even pick it up. You spent thousands of dollars and can't quantify it.
Yeah. So how do you decide, you know, I'm thinking about that, you know, self-publishing or, you know, going with a publishing company. Mm-hmm. So how do you, you know, what should you be thinking about in making that decision? How do you know which is the best path to take?
Well, each path has its pluses and minuses. And the thing about what a lot of people want to do with the traditional publishing houses, and there's like 6 major ones in the US, what they want is they want that pie in the sky, Oprah on the couch experience. But what happens is when you're dealing with traditional publishers, because they have a staff of editors, graphics designers, cover design, you know, interior layout, marketing, they have these people on staff. They have a fixed budget that they have to accommodate. So they are very rigid about how they select authors. So before you can get picked up by a traditional publisher, first you have to win over an agent. The agent has to first see value in your book and know that they can land you a deal based off of their relationship, because they don't get paid until you get paid. So if they don't see value in your manuscript or don't have a way to connect you to the right publishing house, they're not going to pick you up. You're also going to need an attorney to get started. You have to have a powerful pitch. Your book has to pretty much be done, well edited, and ready to go. And typically when you deal with a traditional publisher, they want to do a multi-book deal. Okay. So if you're not ready to have 2 or 3 books ready to go, you land that deal, you can be hurting. Because if you don't make your advances back off the first run, they'll cancel the book deal and you're on your own again.
Well, and I mean, as you are so clear about, this is a business. I mean, it is art, it's artistic in nature, it's creative in nature, but it is a business. And so we have to keep that piece in mind.
Absolutely. And so the other part of it then is if you want to, I recommend self-publishing because there's, after traditional publishers, there's independent publishers. And like Scholastic, they will be an independent publisher and they focus on children's books. So you have those type of options where a publisher focuses solely on a specific genre of book or a specific type of author. And they may or may not pay advances and royalties, but with an independent publisher and a traditional publisher, the author doesn't come out of pocket to actually publish the book. Okay. Then after the independent, there's book producers and then self-publishing. Book producers, there are good ones and bad ones within that category. With a book producer, you pay them to publish your book. So I have a book production company with my branch or division of Pen of the Writer, which is Queen V Publishing. I publish books for clients. That's where I've published over 134 authors. They pay me to do the work for them. So I'm still self-publishing. They're just paying me to do the work for them. Okay. But with self-publishing, which is what I'm a proponent for, is you control the process. You decide when the book drops. You decide your cover. You decide the interior. You should pay for editing. That is not something you do on your own. You should pay for editing. The retail price is your decision. Where you market, when you market, how much money, all of that is in your control. The other thing about self-publishing is because you control the process, you are learning more about the business. So what I tell my clients who want that traditional publishing deal, learn the business by self-publishing, build your platform, learn, and then be able to better navigate and negotiate a better contract and deal. If you're able to sell 50, 60,000 copies of your book on your own, when you go to land this publishing deal, you may decide once they tell you, well, we'll give you about $1 a book. You might go, well, I've done this already. Traditional publishing, of course, has its pluses in that they cover all the expenses and they get you into distribution channels. It's very hard to get into as an independent author. So they all have their pluses and minuses. I say start with self-publishing. The barriers to entry are very minimal now. So you can get out there, get your book rolling, sell some product, get some exposure, and then work and learn the business and then navigate as to whether you want to do traditionally published.
Yeah. So what kinds of what streams of income, are possible from writing a book? People think it's just book sales, that, you can only make money from selling the book and they focus on that. So what other streams are possible from that?
That's a great question, Christy. There are tons and tons of streams of income. So for me specifically, in addition to my books, I have merchandising that connects to some of my books. So for my children's books, I have dress-up aprons that have all the professions in the book. Here's my children's book. All the things I can be when I see me. I don't know how well you can see that. But that's my first children's book. So I'm doing a lot of marketing and work with that one.
Okay.
And I have merchandising attached to it. I have multicultural crayons. I have the aprons. I have ballerina art. I'm working on the coloring book. I'm doing it in French and Spanish. Of course, I have the ebook. I may do an audio book. So all that comes from that one book. And there's more coming along with that. I'm doing online courses because now people are saying, how can I do a children's book and be a bestseller and hit Amazon and do all the things you've done? So now I'm hosting online courses to show people how to do that. That's just from one book.
Yeah.
From the Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, which is this one, my relationship book, the relationship advice that your father didn't tell you and your mother didn't know. I've done workshops off of this book where I brought in a panel of men to tell women about real relationship advice. I've done live events, speaking engagements have come off of that book. And then with this one, Self-Publishing Made Easy, I do mentoring. So I have one-on-one mentoring sessions, group coaching. I'm doing an online course coming up soon, speaking engagements. And this book has other opportunities connected to it. So it's the sky's the limit. I have clients who have done stage plays based off of their books. I have clients who are going into coaching. And so they're using their book as a tool in their coaching process, mentoring, like I said, speaking engagements. Really, the sky's the limit. Now what I'm doing is working on going into school with my children's book, going into schools and getting paid to come in and do author visits at schools. I've been reading for free. There's other strategies you can use to go in, and the schools will pay you to come in and teach the children. You're like not a substitute teacher, but you're coming in and giving the children an experience for an hour or two, and you can get paid for that. Then I do my book events. So my citywide book event, Power Book Fest, and I'm doing a writer's retreat, Free Your Mind and the Words Will Follow Writer's Retreat, which is a 3-day experience. And this year I'm planning on doing it virtually because of the issues with the virus. I don't want to have, plan this elaborate three-day event and then we have to cancel it because this in the fall.
Yeah, but
So
that's
all of
more
that.
of an opportunity because you may be able to connect with those that you wouldn't have been able to be, being locked into a physical space. So
Absolutely.
it's interesting to see, what benefits are coming out of that. So really your book is a launch pad to limitless opportunities, to promote your book. And, when you think about promoting, what are some of the places and spaces that are most valuable for authors to network?
Oh, that's a good question, Christy. Because I will tell you, there were tons of opportunities where you could go and go to book events and book fairs and promote and sell your book. Those probably, a lot of them have changed, mine in particular, but I've had 4 events canceled or postponed myself. So I know that there's an adjustment. But one great way to leverage your book is book events, book fairs, and book expo type things where you can go out and actually sell your book and connect. The problem with some of the book events that I've attended is that the organizer spends more time getting authors there and not a lot of time getting readers there. So I've been to events where it was just authors looking at authors. Well, because I have other options as of this selling books, I'll go and connect to the authors and get their information to invite them to one of my book events, or I do interviews as well with authors. So I use it as an opportunity to talk to them about my mentoring, other things that, or even just networking and learning other opportunities. But that's an issue sometimes with live events. So make sure that you're, asking other people who have already been, what was your experience? Would you go back? Interviews are a great way for marketing. Also, when it comes to marketing your book, the best way and the most effective way I have for marketing is speaking engagements.
Yeah.
So when I go out and speak, people connect to me, they like me, I answer their questions, they feel this level of connection, and people will purchase and support those they know, like, and trust. So that face-to-face interaction.
That's the piece that I really, really miss, with this quarantine, is being able to get out to these events, connect, with people and, just encourage and empower and, share what we're all doing. So that's one of the things that I'm really, really looking forward to.
Right.
To, getting out, because we've launched a book during this quarantine, our Bizperation, a think tank journal. And so, it is challenging because, when you launch, you want to kind of get in the room, you want to feel the energy, that's in the room, you want to celebrate together. And, we've had to do it virtually. So it's caused us to be more strategic in how, we're sharing and promoting the book. So that's one thing I'm just really looking forward to, is kind of getting out and getting connected with people again. I miss it. I miss it so much. I love doing speaking engagements.
I love speaking engagements, but I'm an introvert. Nobody believes me when I tell you I like to be at home. So this quarantine, although it has affected me, I'm not so like, oh my God, like some people I know are, because I'm not the extrovert. I don't need to be around a bunch of people. So I'm like, okay, let me slip on my slippers and just go feel. Yeah.
Well, this is what I tell people. This too shall pass,
Right.
So enjoy it while you can. Maybe it's refueling you, but maybe it's also giving you a greater appreciation for what you had that you didn't appreciate before. So, you get out here, as they say, this too shall change. So enjoy it while you can. So this last segment really is where our listeners and viewers get to know you as a person. This is my top 5, my Bizperation top 5. And if you watch us on YouTube, it's not our typical strategy, session that we share with you weekly with business strategies that we know work at the intersection of business and inspiration. But these are just some questions that we have for our guests that kind of give us a little insight into their personal side. So first question for you, and answer top of mind, what comes to mind for you. Number 1, if you could have a book forward written by any person, famous or dead, who would it be?
Denzel Washington.
And make sure you put his picture in there too.
Look, let me tell you something. God dropped a book in my spirit that I'm going to be working on. I need to be doing it now where everybody's locked in. But I want to interview people like Denzel Washington, Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, Bishop T.D. Jakes, these men who are bold about their beliefs in God and their faith walk. And I want to interview them, put an anthology together, and then share their stories. So Denzel Washington is it's not like a man crush thing. I just think he's such an awesome person. You know what I mean? He's never in trouble with anything. He doesn't cause any confusion. He loves his wife, loves his family. Now, he's a good looking man. I bet he smells wonderful.
Yeah, would you say he's not hard on the eyes? Huh?
Yeah, not hard on the eyes at all. But that's not, I just want to sit down and have a conversation with him. So my plan is to do that real soon. And like I said, a lot of other men of influence who aren't ashamed of their faith and their beliefs in Christ. So he would be my forward. Top of mind.
Okay. Well, you put it out there, so I'm going to agree with you that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, second question. Besides yourself, who is your favorite author?
Ooh. Well, see, I have several favorites. I would say the author who probably most influenced me would be Vanessa Miller. I helped her with her first 4 books as an independent author, and then when she got to the 5th book, she got a deal picked up. So she probably influenced me the most on a direct basis. On an indirect basis, I would say S.E. Hinton with The Outsiders. When I was in the 6th grade, I'm probably telling on myself now, I don't know. But when I was in the 6th grade, our teacher read The Outsiders to us. And I was at a predominantly white school. I was the only little brown baby in the class because they put me in the 6th grade. I'm in the college prep class. So and she read that book to us. And I just was like, I was just so into it. I was just daydreaming. Like I could see Pony Boy and, all the characters. And I went home so inspired by that message. I went home and tried to write my own Outsiders version in the 6th grade. And I don't know how far I got into it, but I eventually stopped because I realized, didn't know what it was at the time, but I had switched from first person to third person or vice versa. And I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know how to fix it. I'm like, wait, and I just kind of put it aside. So I would say from a writing, physically getting down and writing would be S.E. Hinton. And then just moving and launching into the book business would be Vanessa Miller Pierce.
Okay, so this is leading right into my next question. Can you describe your ideal environment to write? Some people have to have it super quiet, super zen. Like, what is your ideal environment like?
Well, I haven't done a lot of writing in a while because I'm so busy publishing other clients' books. But when I did my children's book, because it was based off of conversations, it was fairly easy to flow with it. It wasn't so hard to pull it all together. The biggest challenge with that was piecing together the fact that it was conversations over several years that I wrapped up to make it into one weekend visit so that it made sense in the book. That was probably the biggest challenge. But for my space, we recently moved into a new home, so I'm in my office right now, and I think that would probably be my space. I have my sound machine going. I have my scent diffuser with the lavender and the relaxation. I have my scents in the wall, eucalyptus. It's my favorite colors are purple. I'm just surrounded by things that make me happy and comfortable. So when I do sit down to write, I'm going to write in my office. Time of day, I'm not a morning person, but what I do know is if I don't start out writing, as the day progresses, it gets easier and easier for me to say like, I'm good. I'm not going to do it. Nah, maybe tomorrow. So the earlier, the better, but not like God awful before the break of day early. I'm not that person.
Yeah, and you have to know what works for you, right? I mean, you can follow tips and tricks on, how to produce the best writing environment, but you really it has to be an authentic space for you because writing is a sensory experience. I mean, you have to be connected emotionally, you have to be inspired visually, relaxed, all of those things. So it's wonderful that you have identified that space for you. And I think that's important for new authors that are listening to do that same thing too. So tell me one thing that your followers would be surprised to know about you.
A lot of them are surprised when I say I'm an introvert. No, and they want to challenge me on it. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
Well, I think you would know.
Right. I think I kind of know who I am. And I think it's because I am proficient in putting on my other personality. Like right now, Chrissy, when we're done, I'm gonna have to go sit down somewhere, even though we're not even face to face, just all having to be on. I feel like I have to be on.
Yeah.
you know. And when I was out, like I told you earlier, I was out running errands out in this environment, and it makes my heightened sense of awareness. So I just feel like, oh, I'm exhausted. So, you know, what a lot of people don't understand with introversion is not that I'm shy. It's just that I'm awkward with one-on-one conversations. If we weren't talking about books right now or my grandkids, I wouldn't have nothing to say to you.
Yeah.
And it's nothing personal. It's just
Yeah.
how I'm wired.
Well,
so I think that'll probably be the biggest thing.
Yeah, and it is. It's how you're wired. It's where you get your energy, right? Like I get my power, my zhuzh, like from being in the space with people. Like I share that energy with them. But for you, it's being quiet, you know, getting your energy from that. So it's not that you can't be social. You know, introverts can be social, but it's really like, you know, what powers you.
Right.
And I think
I'm
for
more
me,
like, who told my virtue?
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me one food that you would never, ever, ever eat if your life depended on it.
Oh, now you want to throw the life dependent on it part. Now, I was about to say something. If my life depended on it,
we're gonna raise the stakes on it.
Yeah, if my life, chitterlings.
If I could give you a virtual high five on that one, listen. I have never had a chitlin, neither do I desire to have one. And I'm so thankful that, you know, well, let me say this. We did not really, I was not going to say my mama can't cook. No, what I'm going to say is we didn't grow up eating a lot of, you know, soul food and Southern food. So it wasn't like we always had, you know, chitlins at holidays and things like that. So when we would go to visit friends and family and they would prepare it, you know, man, that I don't get how it's appetizing to people. But
it's disgusting. But I mean, and I get it. Back when our family and our people, that's all they had was the leftovers from the pig. I get it. Sure. I don't see it as a delicacy. There's nothing you can tell me because what comes out of the intestine is disgusting.
Oh my goodness.
I don't care how well you clean it. That stuff is permeated and saturated in there. It smells awful. There's something with the nose to mouth connection. Is like, don't you do it. Don't put that.
Yeah, because if it smells foul to me, it probably tastes foul. That's my
make me sick.
Yes.
Chitterlings.
But you know what? All love to our viewers and listeners that love chitlins, however you want to say it. Right. Enjoy it, but it's just not for me and it's not for Valerie. So we will take a hard pass on that.
A hard pass.
Hard pass. So listen, reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what do you want people to remember after our interview today? Any words of encouragement or any of that?
Absolutely. So what I want people to remember after this interview is that write your book. Don't let fear, unforgiveness, procrastination, self-sabotage keep you from telling your story, whether it's just for you as a purging therapeutic process or it's for you to share with other people, leave a legacy for your family. If you feel compelled to write the book, write the book. You don't know what's going to come out of it. And one of the things that I like to tell that I'm working towards now, part of my branding tagline, is I want my clients to rise. R for results, I for integrity, S for service, and E for excellence. So I want them to get results as I operate in integrity, service, and excellence. I want to give them my best so that they can have their best and we will all elevate. So yeah, just do the work.
Do the work. And there are no excuses now, right? I mean, what's stopping you but you?
Right.
Yeah. So I really appreciate your time today. Again, I'm sure our viewers and listeners are feeling the inspiration coming through the airwaves with you as I did when we were on our panel together. So I was just adamant about following up with you and learning more. So we'll make sure that you can tell everyone now how to follow you after this interview, but we'll have the links available as well. But can you kind of share how we can keep in contact with you?
Sure. My website is penofthewriter.com, and that's PEN as an ink pen, penofthewriter.com. I'm on Facebook, Pen of the Writer, YouTube, Pen of the Writer, Twitter, Pen of the Writer, LinkedIn, Pen of the Writer, I used to be on Blog Talk, Pen of the Writer, Instagram, Pen of the Writer. So you see how important Pen of the Writer is to me, right? So Pen of the Writer makes it easier to find somebody when they're consistent with the branding. penofthewriter.com is my main website, and they can go there and find out everything they need to know about me.
Right. Well, thanks so much, and we appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your day today.
Thank you for having me. Stay safe.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Bizperation Personal Think Tank Journal is now available. Did you know that your creativity is a valuable asset based on this? How you think determines how you thrive. The Bizperation Journal exercises the key thinking skills that make goal-getters successful. Get your copy today from Amazon or receive an autographed copy from the Bizperation.com website. We know that there are lots of podcasts that you could have chosen to listen to, so thanks for choosing ours. Go ahead and subscribe now so that you don't miss any episodes.